2.5 tumultuous years have passed since the revolution in Egypt that ended Hosni Mubarak's 30-year rule. But now the country has sunk even deeper into chaos. Since mid-August, political violence across the country has killed nearly 1,000 people. And as CCTV's Cui Lingnan reports, there is no sign of stability returning to the country anytime soon.
August 14th marked the deadliest day in 2 years of instability in Egypt. Riot police, backed by armored vehicles and bulldozers, cleared supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi from 2 sprawling encampments. The move sparked clashes that killed more than 600 people.
I
want to tell the Muslim Brotherhood supporters, please reevaluate your position.
Egypt's military-backed government imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew, declaring a month-long state of emergency. But the deadly violence against Morsi supporters caused Egypt's acting vice president, Nobel laureate Mohamed al-Baradei, to resign from the country's interim government in protest.
Peace is the objective, but the situation that was on the ground, was a true recipe for disaster.
The next day, in retaliation against the crackdown of their encampments, Morsi supporters burned down police stations, churches, and government buildings. Egypt's Interior Ministry then authorized the use of deadly force against any protester that assaulted security forces. But a few days later, security officials say suspected Islamic militants carried out an execution-style killing of 25 off-duty policemen in the northern Sinai Peninsula. In an effort to end the pro-Morsi protests, military-backed authorities arrested the Muslim Brotherhood's spiritual leader, Muhammad Badi. He is being held on murder charges in connection with protests during Morsi's time in office.
The incarceration of Muhammad Badi, the supreme guide of the Muslim Brotherhood, he is of huge value for us. We are in pain, but the Brotherhood operates as a coalition on all levels of society, and this arrest will not affect our operations and our peaceful right to protest whatsoever.
Standing at the crossroads of 3 continents and bordering Israel, Egypt is an important strategic ally for world powers. But the latest events in Cairo are making Western lawmakers nervous.
While we want to sustain our relationship with Egypt, our traditional cooperation cannot continue as usual when civilians are being killed in the streets and rights are being rolled back. As a result, this morning we notified the Egyptian government that we are canceling our biannual joint military exercise, which was scheduled for next month.
After canceling the joint drill, U.S. attention now turns to whether $1.5 billion of annual U.S. aid to Egypt should continue.
We violated our own rule of law by not calling it for what it is, because our law clearly states that if it's a military coup, then aid is cut off.
And what could stir even more unrest is the release from jail of the country's former leader, Hosni Mubarak. The 85-year-old had been in detention since he was ousted from office in April of 2011, ending his 30-year rule. He is being retried for charges related to the killing of hundreds of protesters during the so-called Arab Spring uprisings that swept through the Arab world in 2011. But Egyptian judicial authorities announced this week that he can no longer be held because there is a 2-year limit pending a final verdict in this case, which began in August 2011. Cui Lingnan, CCTV.